episode of BC Plus Live. I'm your host, Jeremiah W9JAM, with my co-host.
Jeremy, KD5YZ.
And in case you have already picked up on it, he has a new mic, folks, so we can hear him in full fidelity now. I think that's the correct word. I'm not an audio engineer. I'll consult one later. I can't laugh at my own
Easy.
jokes. That will be a bad thing for tonight.
Easy.
Okay, so tonight's episode is about DMR networks. Which one's your favorite? Which one is your go-to? Which ones are you interested in learning about? And some of the ones that are on the horizon that have started up, that are getting more people involved, and trying to build out their network. Brandmeister is the largest network across the world. They have the most supported servers. So finding a repeater that hosts Brandmeister is easier than you think. Unless you're in certain areas like the Pacific Northwest or North Carolina, then you're going to see the PRN network and the PNW networks a lot more. One of the questions I know that comes up, and Jeremy, you've probably seen this too, is when it comes to different DMR networks, do I have to register somewhere else for a DMR ID for that network, or can I use my original ID?
Yeah. Um, I do recall that one quite often. And to my knowledge, there's only three that you got to get a different ID for.
Yeah. When you register with radioid.net, you actually your that ID is good for pretty much everything as far as DMR IDs. Um, unless you're doing like radio to radio DMR on your own configuration and you want to have, you and your group of friends where your name pops up on is something different on the radio instead of showing your DMR ID when you key up on and they see it on their radio. And that would be customizing your contact list. And that's a whole nother topic for another episode. Because if you're like me, you do not like having to wait for the radio to load the full contact list. And I've gotten pretty proficient with Excel on how to trim that down on my own. Um, the cool thing is radioidea.net does have a subscription service that gets you some features on their website that will actually let you customize that DMR ID list. And then when you click the export to download it, you have a trimmed down list that's already done for you. So let's say you've got an 878 UV that is still kicking and you want to keep using it. You don't have to worry about that error code 15 when you try to load the full list. It'll actually let you trim that list down to 200,000 contacts. So it'll fit. If I mute my microphone several times tonight, don't mind me. I've got a cold and trying not to cough in everybody's ear. So if I suddenly mute my microphone, Jeremy, just jump in and
Well, we'll get it covered.
feel free to make fun of me on it. But if you see a lung bounce across the screen, somebody throw it back. I will need that to keep talking on radio. I finally got my HF antenna set back up.
Woohoo!
So, yeah. So Jeremy, what are some of your thoughts before we start going to the BC Plus members?
Well, with me being down here in southeastern Oklahoma, Brandmeister is the primary here. Um, if you go south of the Red River, I know they've got two networks down there. There's no way that I can get into them from here. Uh, I believe one of them is hosted out of the Dallas area. Don't hold that to me to be 100% honest, but I've heard that. I believe the name of that one is actually called Lone Star. And then there's another one that's down around the Austin, Houston area. It's another small network that I have heard of. There's been one network that I actually got to program on the fly when we were at IWC. What was that? 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And when I
Yeah.
went through Arizona, I got on, I believe it was called Starnet, and that was cool. Talked all over the state of Arizona. I believe I was able to hit a few of the repeaters while going down I-40. The rest of the time I was on my hotspot, but it worked great.
Yeah. And two things. I see some frequent flyers in the YouTube chat. So Pamela in Massachusetts, hello neighbor. Jacob, one of our newest BC Plus members, because I'm pretty sure I saw your order come in earlier today. Um, let me find your email and I'll send you the Zoom link real quick while Jeremy's giving us a heads up on some of the stuff that he likes about the different networks he's been on. Juan, great to have you here. Thank you for being here. So glad I was able to get your stuff up and running again after it decided to glitch on us. Gotta love power outages. And that's all I see in the YouTube chat right this moment. So thank you guys for being here. And to Trouble in the Zoom chat, I will do you one better. Chloroseptic cherry cough drops. Forget the Ricola. So
That's great.
yeah, I'm gonna pop one of those now, although it's gonna probably taste nasty with my coffee.
Make it taste better. Another one that I've been on um, was DMR Mark, and that one was actually pretty cool. There was quite a few QSOs on there that were interesting, and it wasn't like a normal rag chew. It was more of a round table with the issues that they were discussing, and just kind of went around, and you were able to actually answer. There was a lot of stuff about the DMR Mark network that I didn't know about until I participated in that net. The other only other one that I've ever been a part of was Colorado. They had a small PRN net that went from Fort Collins to Denver, and that one was actually pretty cool. I believe it was early springtime when I partook in that one. My eldest daughter lived up there in Fort Collins, and we were traveling up there to visit. So that was pretty cool. Uh, Other than that, that's the only networks that I've been on. Anybody got any their favorite network that they utilize? Drop it in the chat and let us know.
All right. Bear with me 1 second here.
Uno más.
Yeah, I probably should put the phone on do not disturb because muting it is not getting the point across right this moment.
Okay, up in the YouTube chat, I see TGIF. Da, da, da. It's about the only one other than Brandmeister that has been mentioned there. Trouble, he says YSF. That's a mode, not an actual network.
Correct.
That's
Now we'll get into the modes later on another episode about the different modes that you can use with the Skybridge. I finally found the charging cable for my Kenwood TD, or was it T or D74A that does D star. So I finally found that charging cable so I can charge the radio back up. Even though I have two batteries for it, it sat so long that the batteries both depleted.
That's what'll happen. You got to make sure your batteries stay hot. That way you can always be prepared.
Yes. And that is actually going to be a topic for a whole month coming up.
Oh, yeah. So those that want to get their teeth wet and a little bit more deep dive to be prepared, stay tuned.
So
Trouble.
one thing I'm gonna do real quick because I want to show you the SkyBridge screen here in a little bit is I'm gonna plug my SkyBridge back in.
Ah.
And if this camera works like it's supposed to, I should be able to hold this up and it should autofocus on the screen. Oh, that's right. I put it on manual focus. I'm an idiot. And I don't even have the good kind of cough medicine. And you guys know what I'm talking about, too.
What's this red button do? Trouble.
All right. Um, so while that's booting up, and yes, my SkyBridge is set up on Wi-Fi, so it does work on Wi-Fi, but you can also use the Ethernet port on the side of it. I know some of those newer hotspots and some of the older ones for cell phones actually have, and I've seen this in person because I did a tech support call in Tucson for somebody. I got bored. I wanted out of Palm Springs for a day, so I drove to Tucson and helped somebody set up their SkyBridge and their radio. Um, so I went and saw that hotspot they had, and it actually had a Ethernet plug on the hotspot, and it did Wi-Fi both. So that was actually pretty cool because it made setting up the SkyBridge easier because I could get it set up on the network first with the Ethernet and then set up the Wi-Fi because they didn't have a card reader. And the card reader is the simplest way to get that set up, especially with a Windows 7 laptop with 4 gigs of RAM.
Toss some more coffee beans on that wheel.
Yeah, one of these days, I'm just going to do a whole episode of my personal picks for computer parts if you're building a desktop for your ham radio station. And then if you're looking for a high-end laptop that will last, 5, 6, 10 years that you can still use to program everything. That might be a good episode to help people out.
Very well plausible.
All right. So I know that there is another network that Eric is very familiar with, N2KOJ, and it's called Amcom. Give me just a second. I'm going to get him brought up so he can talk about it, uh, as long as he is ready to go here.
Oh, look at that. He's got the future ham in processor with him too.
Yep, I got my sidekick with me. Say
All
hi. She
right.
says hi, everybody. Well, I keep trying to get my radio from her. She keeps keying it up. Thankfully, it has a lock on it. So
Key
good
locks
evening,
are good.
everybody. Yes, key locks are fantastic. So it's a reasonably newer DMR system called Amcom. A lot of it is, I guess, it was pretty much created for like emergency personnel, police, fire, EMS, but it's open to everyone. And one of the nice things about it is you can link whatever you want, just obviously not to Brandmeister. They've got talk groups that are linked to TGIF, that are linked to the other modes. They have, I think it's 9 separate servers throughout the country right now. I obviously connect into the one in Washington, D.C., since it's the closest to me, but they got an Alabama. I think they have an Oklahoma. Don't quote me on that, because I think that's the same Red River that tried to drown me, but I'm not sure. Jeremy, I'm upset you missed that comment. But one of the great thing about it is there's an 800 number on the website if you need technical support, if you're having a problem getting in, if you're dropping out or something. They got a good group of, I believe it's sure guys and girls that will help you out and everything. And I was having some issues. Now you know how we do with Brandmeister. If you want to transmit your APRS beacon through, you can transmit it through the AMCOM too. It works, phenomenally. I've had no problems with the system. It's simple. You have to do some, like if you want to have static talk groups, there's an option line. If you're using the WPSD software, there's an option. They have an options generator on their website. So say what I do is I listen to 31360, which is New Jersey, New York, and PA tri-state, and 3142, which is Pennsylvania. So those are my statics, and you can change it as you want. Do all things. It's a lot of fun. For those that might know Yesu, John, I think it's K9UC. He's very involved with it. It's it's a great system, and it's a lot less grief than I'm speaking personally, not for anyone else. I know a bunch of people have had problems with Brandmeister in the past and how they hate linking and everything, which is why TGIF was created. But it's nice to see the expanding systems. Plus, especially with the WPSD software and the DMR gateway, you can have that on at the same time as TGIF and Brandmeister and what's the other one, like free DMR and stuff. So it's a pretty cool little system. I said I'm always on it. So if you have questions, problems, issues, yeah, drop me an email. I'll see if I can help you out. And you know where I hang out at. There's dashboards, there's last heard lists like all the other networks. So you see some good activity. It's a neat little system. Back to you, Jeremiah, or Jeremy. I'm not sure which one's going to take it. So can't see Jeremiah. There he is.
Rock, paper, scissors, Jeremy.
But how did you not get my reference in the chat, Jeremy? Seriously. How did you not get my Luke Combs reference? I'm upset. Because now every time I hear that song, I think of you. The website for that is AMCOMM. Amcom. I think.
And
Yeah,
I'm posting
there it
that
is.
in the
Thank you,
YouTube stream as well.
It's
I
a
was gonna say,
phenomenal work.
Dr. Greg posted the website to that in the Zoom chat. I don't know about the chat on YouTube.
It's nice to see experimenting DMR networks. Jeremy, you mentioned DMR Mark. If I'm not mistaken, that is the first DMR system that was out there.
I do
And
believe
we had
so.
them. Yep. We had them in Jersey. That was the first stuff we had in Jersey, and they were always experiment, and it was really neat. And then, obviously, listen, Brandmeister's phenomenal. It's amazing what they can do, but there's just like people will say if you see it in the chats, there's too many strange rules. But that's everyone's. That's these guys are putting out that money, and you can do that. Just follow proper radio protocols like everyone else does, no swearing, and just have conversations. And we're here to have fun, remember? And it's neat that they're doing more.
Well, the big thing to remember is repeater owners spend their own money out of their own pocket. And unless they've got, a club that's sponsoring the repeater, they're financially responsible for that repeater.
Yep.
So if you're tying up their repeater with a talk group and you just keep talking and talking and talking and talking, and nobody else can use the repeater, and you're not contributing anything to support the repeater, they're going to get upset and they're going to contact Brandmeister because you're hogging their repeater. That's why they have 10-minute limits on statewide talk groups on Brandmeister Network, because people did that for so long. And that's why that's 10-minute limit is there. Now, the one thing that you can do is you can always get a hotspot, get it programmed like the Skybridge Max, and program your code plug, and that way you're not tying up somebody's repeater, and it works essentially as your own gateway to the DMR networks. And then if somebody says that you're talking too long on a talk group that isn't one of the statewide talk groups on Brandmeister, that's kind of on them at that point, because maybe you shouldn't have that talk group as a static talk group on your repeater.
Mm-hmm. The other thing, and I know we've gone over it before, how about the peer-to-peer or the private call? through the hotspots. That's another good thing you can do too.
Yes.
And it's something that not a lot of um, groups talk about, is that feature. We've talked about it a few times here in the past, over the past couple of years. I know I've private called Jeremy and Jeremiah and others on here. It's peer to peer. Nobody else can hear it. Nobody can interrupt, and you're not tying anything up. It's a pretty neat feature, just like a cell phone call, but with a ham radio.
Yeah.
Even better. And it's
And
digital.
as Jeremy probably can attest, having that hotspot on the go with you in the truck or the car is a lot easier because it's already programmed and you aren't looking at a repeater book guide that you're going through and trying to manually program your handheld or mobile in a parking lot somewhere because, oh, I'm in a new town, I got to program it for this repeater. You can have everything programmed to go in DMR, and with the hotspot you're already set up. Same thing with YSF mode or D-Star mode or P25 or NXDN mode. It's already configured on your hotspot. If you've set it up and taken the work to program your radio, you don't have to be searching for a repeater.
Yeah. It comes awful handy, especially when you're traveling like that.
Yes. All right. All right, back to the 2-pin screen. All right. So, let's get to some questions from the BC Plus members. If you've got a question, click the raise your hand on Zoom, and we will try to answer it as far as the different modes, or excuse me, different networks that we've used. And yes, I did charge my 168, so it's charged up for the show. Question from KE4TLC, Dion in YouTube. No, we do not. We switched to the WPSD dashboard because the support was easier for us from the creator and his team when we started realizing there were issues with the way that updates were done on Pi-Star. There were things that were done on Pi-Star that required us to go in and manually reconfigure system files to make the screen work again versus having something that just worked. And to do that on every single unit, and have multiple updates that were done over the air to the Pi-Star units and have to go back in and change those settings was becoming a giant hassle. It was taking up a lot of time with tech support and scheduled remote calls and re-imaging sky bridges, and just WPSD offered us better support. So to Chip and his team, we are very grateful that they take the time to do the bug fixes and work on everything that they do to make improvements. It's not to say that sometimes there's, a bug that makes things wonky that needs to be fixed, but they're on it. They get it fixed within a day, and, we're good to go again. So, hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Set my radio on 3163074. Is that for Brandmeister, Jeremy?
I just kind of throwing that out there, see who could pick it up out of the Zoom chat. If you want to throw that into the YouTube chat, we'll see if somebody can pick up on it.
Hey, Juan got in here. How many networks can you have in your code plug? Jeremy, do you want to answer that one, or do you want me to answer that one? Because that's kind of a loaded question.
That's a very loaded question. I've only got one or two in mind right now. And that's right at this particular point in time. How about you, Jeremiah? How many you got in yours?
Right now, I just have TGIF and Brandmeister. That is all that I have programmed in because I haven't had time to go through and check out the others yet.
Now, at one point in time, I had up to, I believe it was 8 or 9 different networks in my 878.
Okay.
Handled it just fine.
I know at one time I had 4 because I was doing DMR to YSF,
No, doing cross
which
mode.
is a cross mode. But that was back on PyStar when you had to go in and edit the MMDVM host file and all of that stuff manually versus the drop downs in WPSD.
Yeah, I remember doing the show over the multi-network, and on that one I had every cross mode except D star and NXDN running.
Okay. So, real quick, if you hear a radio chunking in the background, that is me on my 168. I was trying to get into the TGIF BridgeCom group. But I think I have a setting set wrong in my radio for some reason. So that's pretty much what happens when I'm swapping out customer code plugs with my code plug every day to test their code plugs. So let's see.
Okay.
So
What do you see?
nope, bit error rate's good. And it's the talk group is 5002266 for the BridgeCom talk group. If you're using TGIF on a Skybridge or another hotspot that has already been set up to run TGIF with Brandmeister both. So Alan, that's a good question. I don't have an answer on that yet. They are going over things on figuring out how to make the support document and everything for that. Because we realize that it will be very easy to mess up that code plug if people start going and fiddling around in it.
Yep. If it's going to be anything like you and I had discussed, pretty in depth, that's for sure.
Yes. For those who are wondering, Alan was asking about the Dual Max code plug that has all the TGIF talk groups in it, and when it will be available for BC Plus members.
Okay.
So,
does anybody have any more questions, whether it be here in the Zoom or on the YouTube chat? Let us know.
yes, please feel free to post your questions in the YouTube chat because I actually have the chat set up on my side where it's in real time instead of having like a minute delay. So I should see your question immediately so I can respond to it.
All right. Dr. Greg says, asked if we mentioned Freestar. Freestar, if I remember correctly, that's across the creek over there in the UK, I believe. That's what I was thinking. And for those in YouTube, he said that that is over there in the UK area. I have never tried it, but just like all these other networks that have come up, they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more popular. Same thing with the modes. You'll get DMR, you'll get P25, you'll start getting the D star. even though D-Star's been around since I think Methuselah helped write it. And it comes and goes. And then, we've got the other ones like NXDN. There is absolutely zero NXDN networks around me. So therefore, I don't have it in my rig. But I do have some D-Star. Uh, of course, that's in a D-Star capable radio. I do P25. And see, what's this other one I got? C4FM. There's one of the networks that I have that does crossover.
One hotspot two. Channel BM Paris.
Sorry.
Okay.
That was my other radio, and I'm pretty sure Eric's probably jumping in his seat right now going, I recognize that voice.
Okay, and one to answer your question about more information about TGIF code plug, there's one that's in the works that we're trying to get everything finalized on. That's going to have both TGIF and Brandmeister on it. Hope that was information you were looking for with your question. All right. I don't see any other ones here in the Zoom chat. What about over in YouTube, Jeremiah? What you got on that side?
Well, right now, Mark Music Man asked, do you charge for your code plugs? It depends on the code plug. We do have a repository of code plugs that hams have uploaded to our website that they've submitted. But as far as the super code plug, the ultra code plug, and the duo max code plug, when it becomes available, there is a charge for those because of the work that went in to create the code plugs. So sometimes they're included for free with the purchase of a radio on a special, and other times they're included with like a plug and play package. With the plug and play package, which includes a hotspot and either a 168, a 578, or an 878, there's a basic code plug to get you started. And then usually we have some kind of special going on where you get either a free super code plug or a free ultra code plug included with that plug and play special. And right now, I believe the one where you got the Duo Max code plug, because that one's not for sale yet, was actually included on the 168 that just ended on Saturday, or excuse me, Sunday.
Okay.
Eric, do this for me. A little bit of live tech support. Go into WPSD, click on admin, then click advanced, then click on tools, and then click host file update. That'll update your host files, and that should include the update for the screen configuration. If you're still having issues with the colors being that weird gray color, let me send you the document on how to reimage your SkyBridge with the latest version of this WPSD software, which is Bookworm. It's the latest operating system that WPSD is running on now. And that will fix the issue. Plus, it'll give you a brand new Wi-Fi configuration setup wizard that actually makes it a lot easier to get it set up, and you don't have to reboot your SkyBridge to get it to see the network. So there is that. Alan, actually, yes, and I've got something for you to try on that one. If you go into your code plug software, read the radio, then click on optional settings and go to the digital tab, you will see that you've got group hold time. change that to 30 minutes and see if that result, and click OK and rewrite your code plug to your radio. See if that resolves the issue. Also, if you're doing a parrot call and it keeps saying missed call on your screen, even though you've got filter own ID turned on, change your private call hold time on that same digital tab to at least 5 seconds. That will resolve the issue.
Yeah, you and I went over that last week and finally got that problem resolved. Did you do that to yours as well?
Yes. Got that set up and all of that. For anybody who's in the chat, the Zoom chat, I'm going to put the file for re-imaging your SkyBridge in the Zoom chat right now for the BC Plus members. And this is the one with the latest information on how to update your SkyBridge or reload the card rather. So this is the one that I edited while I was out sick on, I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, there was one day this week I didn't have a voice at all. So yeah, the voice box croaked for this frog.
All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
And unfortunately, it looks like on this particular radio, it is set up for my other hotspot, not my SkyBridge. That's why it's giving me all sorts of errors.
Error. Jeremiah Jarvis needs a reboot and update.
Motorola needs to make their software more user-friendly.
All right. Anybody have any other questions?
All right. So let me grab back into the live stream chat. How to handle 7-digit talk groups. I'm assuming, William, you mean on TGIF? Okay, so KE4TLC. If I take WPSD off my SkyBridge, will that void my warranty? If you replace the operating system in your SkyBridge, we will not be able to provide support because the only support we're going to provide is reloading WPSD on it. That is the decision that was made when we switched to WPSD. We are no longer supporting Pi-Star in configuring it.
All right.
Jacob, a simple way you can check what version of the operating system is on your SkyBridge is actually, let me scroll back up to the correct screen here if I can click on it. Click on System Info on the dashboard. Oh, they moved it. Okay, 1 second. System Details on the admin screen. This will provide a lot of information. If you scroll down to where it says Host System and Operating System, it will either say Bookworm or it'll say Bullseye. And this is on the System Details from the admin screen. And as you guys can tell, I haven't had a coughing fit in a while, so it just goes to prove, and they do not sponsor this show, but if they ever want to, I will be glad to talk to the people in charge about that. The Chloraseptic cough drop does work.
Oh, that's classic.
I will wear a Chloraseptic hat during flu season. if
Oh,
they want to do that.
oh, that's good stuff. All right. Anybody have any other questions on either one of the platforms, YouTube or here in the Zoom?
Okay, so William says how to handle 7-digit talk groups on both. On Brandmeister, you just put in the regular 7-digit talk group. When you program the talk groups into the code plug for the radio, and then assign that talk group to the channel that's configured for your SkyBridge. For TGIF, in that particular configuration where you have both active, you can only have the 6-digit talk groups active on TGIF. In the dual configuration where you have both networks active at the same time, there is a way to get around that, and that is using a profile on WPSD. What that is you set up your first profile with Brandmeister, then you set up a second profile with TGIF only, and then you can program your 7-digit talk groups directly in for TGIF network. And Jeremy, I think we should probably add that to the list of show ideas on showing how to set up profiles.
Exactly. That seems like it would be definitely a good tool to have in the toolbox. So yeah, we need
Yes.
to. I'll make a note of that right now.
Actually, give me 1 second and I'll put it on our list. Because I actually have that already pulled up because I have to put that in there. Let's see. Okay.
Greg, I very much agree.
All right. Yes, the profile ideas was really a great idea that they put into WPSD because you could set up each of your different profiles, kind of like setting up a different login for each of your work projects in Windows. Just create another account essentially, and you have only the icons that you use for that work project on Windows. WPSD, just setting up one profile with Brandmeister only set up, then creating a second profile, setting up TGIF, have a third profile for, YSF, fourth profile for NXDN, and that way the modem board is only tied up by what you set up instead of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between DMR networks or YSF and DMR mode and fighting for real estate in the memory on the hotspots, whether it's a Zoom spot, a SkyBridge, a jumbo spot that's running WPSD. That profile setting is a great option. So, Alan, no. Profiles are not already set up. Everything is done in one profile when you do a Duo Max setup. When that plug and play package is available. Otherwise, it's just the regular plug and play package that only has Brandmeister set up. But what you can do is you can go into that profile setting and create a new profile and set up a additional network in there. Let's see here.
Greg put on there that he's had seen some interesting behavior when setting up profiles for YSF and remembering the linked room that was specified. I have not got to play with the YSF in the new configuration. I still have the old Pi-Star that is still running, or the old SkyBridge running Pi-Star that I have mine on. So I hadn't got to play with that aspect of it yet. When will the SkyBridge touchscreen be available?
That is actually something that got delayed because of another project that got pushed to the forefront, but it is still in development. They are working on it. Uh, the big thing is making sure that the touchscreen driver works correctly. So that is something that is still being discussed in the development stage, because we don't want to release it and then things not work on it. And then, you're going, I spent all my money for this and it doesn't work right out of the box. What the heck? You wouldn't believe how many tech support calls I have gotten this week and emails for other people's hotspots. They just got their AnyTone. They were trying to set it up with XYZ brand hotspot, and it's not working, and it's proprietary software for that particular hotspot. And they're just like, well, they're saying it's a you problem. And I'm like, yeah, their support does that, unfortunately. It's their hotspot. Their support is not good. I'm not going to name the name, but
Now, as for all of those that are tuning in on YouTube, if you want to be part of the in crowd, become part of the membership of BridgeCom Plus, hit us up on the website. Give us a call. We'll be able to get you taken care of. There's a lot of new things on the horizon for the BridgeCom Plus community. So stay tuned. If you want to be part of it, come join us.
yes. One of the things that we are looking at, I will give a little heads up, is a month-long series of shows that each episode is going to be a continuation of the next, or the previous episode, I should say. And it'll be something that you guys will be interested in with the seasons that are coming up. So we'll just leave it at that for now.
All right. Alan, or let me back up. November 6th, Golf, Victor Golf says, which SBC is BridgeCom currently using?
Ralph, what do you mean by SBC? I'm not sure. Are you talking about the operating system on the Skybridge unit, or are you talking about a code plug? I just want to make sure I'm picking up what you're throwing out there. All right. I got the note on the show ideas page, so we've got that for the meeting tomorrow morning. Single board computer. Okay. Currently, we are using the Raspberry Pi 4 board for our hotspots. Primarily, faster response time. The processor's faster. So with a class 10 memory card, it boots faster and connects to the Wi-Fi faster. The boards also support, unlike the Pi 3 boards that some of the other competitors still use in their hotspots, ours using the Raspberry Pi 4 board for all the new Skybridge Max units have dual band Wi-Fi. So you can use 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. I know a lot of the new internet provider setups, when you're getting internet installed, they set the router, the Wi-Fi router, directly for Wi-Fi 5 gigahertz, because all the new phones and all the new computers use 5 gigahertz. They don't turn on 2.4 gigahertz. And then if you get one of those hotspots that has Raspberry Pi 3 board in it, it won't even see the Wi-Fi network. And then you're like, oh, there's something wrong with this hotspot. Or, there's something wrong with the unit. And it's just that setting hasn't been turned on the router. And Dr. Greg, you are very, very true on that. Some of the routers use a single SSID. And for the life of me, I can't remember what SSID stands for. I think it's single site ID or station site ID. But regardless, some routers will use the same network name for the SSID for both 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz. And that can cause issues sometime as well. our friend Jonathan, he is very correct. The Raspberry Pi 5 board runs a lot hotter. I have yet to see anybody who's been able to run one of those without an add-on fan to keep that sucker cool. So when it comes time to switch to one of those, don't be surprised if there isn't a fan inside the SkyBridge when it's time to switch to one of those.
Well, that also leads to the question that was just posted up here in YouTube chat. Mark Music Man asked if the hotspot has a fan. And right now, the SkyBridge does not. When it is upgraded to a 5 or higher, then it will more than likely have the fan just to keep it cool enough to be able to operate.
Correct.
All right.
Ironically, I had an experiment I was going to do with my SkyBridge. I actually got a fan that fits inside of my custom hotspot that fits on the Pi 3 board and fits on the Pi 4 board both. I have not tried taking apart my SkyBridge 4 to see, or SkyBridge Max rather, to see if the fan will fit in there yet. So that's probably going to be my next experiment, because if it does, that is probably something I'm going to look into, because the fans are fairly cheap.
Yeah.
And if it's something that we can add to add that little bit of peace of mind for everybody, especially when they're using it in their car on a hot day, that would actually be something that would probably help out. So the temp on my SkyBridge Max right now, running the Raspberry Pi 5 board. Let me get back to that screen. I am currently at a CPU temp of 49C, 120F. So Fahrenheit.
Well, we won't talk about my SkyBridge is running Pi-Star then.
Yeah. I had somebody today that submitted a ticket for a hotspot that was running over 81 degrees Celsius. And the screen was showing red in WPSD for the hotspot they were using. And I have never seen that before. So I'm waiting on a response back from them to find out if it's one of ours or if it's a third-party hotspot, to figure out if there's anything I can do to help them. Because at 80 degrees Celsius, the Raspberry Pi 4 board will start thermal throttling the processor. It basically is a protection circuit to keep it from melting the processor.
Got somebody on there.
On the TGIF talk group?
K85YUZ on BridgeCom talk group. I didn't catch it quick enough, but I think that was Paul. Yep.
Okay.
IQSL, Mr. Paul, got you loud and clear over here.
All right. So,
Roger that. Just checking it out. How much percent up there over? Here, maybe it's me.
Sounding real good, real good. And congratulations on being the first one to do a live check on this while on the air. K85YUZ.
Jeremy, quick question. If you can go into your dashboard on your SkyBridge, can you confirm what talk group number it is putting up there? Because I think I've got mine set wrong.
522.26.
522.26. That would explain it.
And for those that are in the Zoom chat, I just put that down in the chat there for the BridgeCom group.
Evidently, there is another BridgeCom group that is labeled on 500-2266 on TGIF. And that's the one that I'm on. I now feel like a complete idiot because I've been waiting for somebody to key up on there and nobody's keyed up. And I'm like, well, here I sit by myself with the radio on the shelf. And that's my
it's
poetry
okay,
for the other day.
Jarvis. We still love you.
Okay.
Trouble. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Well, it's, you know what? I have a USB-C programming cable and I've got the latest software and I got everything updated. What do you say we just show how to fix a incorrect talk group real quick?
You've got the reins.
And my computer's got the brawn. Better with 96 gigs of RAM. Wait, what'd Larry say? Yeah, I know there's 3 minutes to the... Okay, we'll save it for the after show, Larry.
Well, for those that way y'all can be on the end part of this is every week on every one of our BridgeCom shows, those that are BridgeCom Plus members, we do a giveaway. The only way
Correct.
that you can enter into that giveaway every week is to be part of the in crowd. And there's a prize wall that they picked from whomever the winner is. And there's radios, there's an annual subscription to BridgeCom Plus. There is some accessories, and I believe there's a code plug on it. So if you want to be able to get in on that weekly giveaway, give us a call and we can get you taken care of getting you a membership, whether it be a monthly, annually, or a lifetime.
And just a note, if you do the monthly, you actually get the super code plug with your monthly membership. Annual gets the ultra code plug, and lifetime also gets the ultra code plug. So, there is no talk group on Brandmeister for BridgeCom. They will not issue new talk groups. So at least that's what I've been told. So we are unable to get one from them for, people to check in and chat with us. So we've tried. That's why there's one on TGIF. Okay, I should probably get that screen pulled up because I know everybody's going to be itching at the bit to find out who the winner of the drawing is tonight. And again, this drawing is exclusively for BridgeCom Plus members. Lord Lenny, the message you just sent me, at one time there was a Raspberry Pi 3B in the Skybridges. And I don't know the exact date, but we did switch to a Raspberry Pi 4 for those, the Skybridge Plus units. And then the Skybridge Max came with the Pi Star or Raspberry Pi 4 board by default, right off the bat. All right.
Spin that wheel.
Well, I will as soon as it lets me. Okay, now it says it's done. Okay. It was saying it wasn't done yet. It said 5 seconds. Okay. Let's see who our lucky winner is tonight.
Larry.
All right. And I just need to see if this person is won in the last 6 months. I don't think they have. Control F, search by name.
And here goes the comments about winning or not winning. Lord Lenny, if you can actually see that it has a 3, I'd be willing to bet it's going to be a 3B board.
Yeah. How you can tell it's a 3B board is it's a micro, not a USB-C, a micro USB power plug, as well as a single HDMI plug on it. And the USB-C on the end of, or USB plugs on the end of it will all be the same color. On the Raspberry Pi 4 board, 2 are black, 2 are blue. It has a USB-C power plug, and there's 2 mini or micro HDMI plugs, as well as the audio jack that we do not use. It's just the board comes with it by default, so that's why it's there. And for you guys who are wondering how I'm powering my SkyBridge right now, I actually have a power strip on my desk that has a USB-C 5-volt 3 amp out that is powering my SkyBridge. So you can use another power supply to power your SkyBridge. Just make sure it's 5-volt 3 amp. So just a heads up on that. And Greg said when he searches TGIF network for talk group 2226, it's not showing it. So, Jeremy, I might actually have it programmed right, and you typed it in wrong.
Very well plausible. Let me pull that up.
All right. So, our winner for tonight, let's see if he is in the chat here, or in here. I'm looking for him. And I see him. And he actually has his camera on. Jerry, KQ4, BRJ. So
Round of applause. Congratulations, Jerry.
hopefully that worked. So everybody could hear the cheering. Or not.
There we go.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Jeremiah's getting the prize wall probably pulled up behind him here in just a second. I think it's about time we need to start adding some more RAM to Jarvis there. All right. And yes, I was incorrect. 2266. So I did have it entered incorrectly.
Everyone, Jigs.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I muted myself so you guys didn't hear me coughing up a lung. Okay, bear with me just a moment here. I'm getting the new version of the prize wall pulled up, as we have a new prize wall that's different than last year's. Okay. And we will pull this to the other screen. It helps having multiple computer screens because you can actually still keep stuff on your screen that you need to keep on the screen.
Yeah, I know. I've got 7 of them I'm having to chase down.
All right. So here is the new prize wall. You've got the choice of the MERS MV65 2-pack bundle for MERS radios, the $150 BridgeCom store credit, an advanced tech call and follow-up call, handheld accessory bundle, a maximizer upgrade. So if you have the Skybridge Plus, you can get it upgraded to a Skybridge Max. A annual BC Plus membership renewal if you're doing the annual or the monthly. Get a free year. 168 UV radio, a BTO1 speaker mic for the 578 radio, or the Echo GMRS 2-pack radios. So let me click the button to unmute you, Jerry, and let us know which one you would like.
I would like to renew my BC Plus annual membership.
All right. I can actually get that taken care of in probably about 10 mouse clicks. So
Perfect.
as long as the email address is the same one that you're ordering with, which it probably is. By the way, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you order some repeaters from us a while back?
No, sir.
Somebody
No,
had
sir.
a very similar name to yours that ordered repeaters. Okay.
Are you holding out on us down there in Florida?
Yes, sir. I'm in a town that even Jeremiah remembers.
Port Orange?
Port Orange.
Yep. I actually went to high school for a short bit at Spruce Creek.
Right. Just down the road.
All right. And edit renewal date. We're going to add a year to it. If it will let me.
Get a bigger hammer.
Surprisingly, this really cheap monitor I got from Walmart actually is the second best monitor I've got.
Okay. I hope I get this name correct. It's the last post that is in the YouTube chat. You've got to do 500-2266.
You got it. And Jerry, you are already updated. So
Thank
your
you
next
very
renewal
much.
is August of 2026.
Best organization I've gotten into in a long time.
Well, thank you for that. We try.
Actually, it's fun just to listen to Jeremy crack his jokes. That keeps me awake.
Just the
He cracks
comment
his
section
jokes. I
over
crack a
here.
rib. It's all good fun.
Well, you forgot. You also let that loan go flying down I-40 too.
You were supposed to tell one of your troopers to stop it.
Nah. Kilo Echo 4, Charles Ocean November. Yes, we do sell 2-meter, 440, and 220 repeaters.
Yes, we do. Let's see here.
Give us
All
a
right.
jingle and we can definitely get you pointed in the right direction for the one that suits what you need. William Santiago says, what if your TGIF talk group has 7 digits when you need to have a separate profile just for the TGIF and one for Brandmeister, right?
Correct.
There you go.
You would need to do the separate profiles because what happens when you set up both in the WPSD dashboard is it actually has excuse me. It actually uses what's called a DMR gateway, and the 5 number at the beginning with the zeros as spacers to make it a 7-digit long talk group only routes for DMR gateway. But if you turn off Brandmeister in the second profile and turn on only TGIF, then you'll be able to use the regular 7-digit talk group on TGIF. Bravo Whiskey says, okay, I have that in my code plug, but it won't key up. and I try 2266 directly from the TGIF self-care page, it won't accept it, so I'm confused. Bravo Whiskey, you need to check your hotspot configuration to make sure that you've got it set up correctly for TGIF network. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and bid a fond farewell for the night to our YouTube subscribers. Again, remember, if you want to take and jump in on the after hours Zoom call with the BC Plus members, all you've got to do is become a BC Plus member, and you get to talk to all of us, all the BC Plus members, get to ask questions amongst each other, and all that fun stuff, as well as some other topics that we don't cover during the live show. So again, thank you for being here on YouTube. I'm Jeremiah, W9JAM, with our co-host,
Jeremy, KD5, YUZ.
73.